Let me start by saying something you may have heard before, but need to hear again. You are your greatest asset. Every choice you make, every thought you entertain, and every action you take either propels you toward your better self or pulls you further away from it. If you're serious about growth, about becoming the best version of yourself, there are some behaviors you've got to avoid. If you're ready to listen, if you're ready to hear the truth, let's talk about 7 of them. First, we've got to talk about self-doubt. Don't you dare question your own worth. The moment you start doubting yourself, you start limiting yourself. You are capable of far more than you realize, but that starts with belief. You don't need the approval of anyone else to walk into your destiny, but you do need to trust yourself. So today, decide right here, right now, that you are enough. Second, you've got to stop procrastinating. Waiting around for the right time is a trap. The right time is always now. You can plan all you want, but at some point you've got to act. Don't wait for the stars to align, create your own opportunity. It's time to put in the work. The clock is ticking, and time waits for no one. Third, cut out the negative self-talk. If you wouldn't say it to your best friend, don't say it to yourself. Stop putting yourself down. What you tell yourself every day matters more than you think. Those thoughts will shape your life, so start telling yourself the truth. You are strong. You are capable. You can do this. Fourth, stop avoiding accountability. It's easy to blame others when things go wrong, but real strength comes when you take responsibility for your own actions. Own your mistakes. Own your shortcomings. Own your victories. The moment you start taking accountability, that's when you start taking control of your life. That's when growth happens. Fifth, let me address something that trips up a lot of people: fear of failure. Don't you dare let fear stop you. Failure isn't the end, it's just a lesson. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Understand this: the only real failure is the failure to try. Failure is your teacher, so start learning. 6, look at the people around you. You need to eliminate toxic relationships. If someone is pulling you down, if they're draining your energy, you need to let them go. Surround yourself with people who encourage you, who challenge you to be better, because who you associate with will determine who you become. 7th, don't fall into the trap of complacency. Life isn't about just getting by. Life is about pushing boundaries. Growth happens outside of your comfort zone. You want a better life? Stop playing small. Start taking risks. Challenge yourself daily. Complacency is your enemy. There are other behaviors you need to watch out for too. Lack of discipline, making excuses, and ignoring your health. Without discipline, your dreams will remain just that, dreams. Excuses are the enemy of success. And if you're not taking care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, then you're not doing yourself any favors. You want to be a better version of yourself? It's in your hands. No one else is going to do it for you. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. Stop holding yourself back. You've got greatness inside you, but it's up to you to unlock it. Don't settle for mediocrity. Strive for greatness. And remember this: the only thing standing between you and the life you want is you. So get out of your own way. Take responsibility. And let's make the rest of your story a masterpiece. Self-doubt is the silent killer of potential. It's the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, that you're not capable of achieving your dreams, that you're not worthy of success. And when you let that voice control you, it can hold you back from everything you're meant to be. Here's the reality: self-doubt doesn't just come from nowhere. It's born from your fears, your insecurities, and often the opinions of others. But here's the thing: that voice doesn't know your full potential. It doesn't see what you're capable of when you fully commit to your goals. All it sees is the fear of the unknown, the uncertainty of the future. But it's in that uncertainty, in the discomfort of not knowing exactly how things will turn out, where true growth happens. Understand this: you will never feel 100% ready. No one does. The most successful people didn't get to where they are by waiting for the perfect moment or until everything aligned perfectly. They got there by jumping into the unknown, even when they had doubts. They made the decision to trust themselves, flaws, imperfections, and all. You've got to stop letting self-doubt control your actions. Every time you doubt your abilities, you're choosing to stay stuck. You're choosing to remain in a place of safety. But that safety is costing you the opportunity to evolve, to grow, and to live the life you deserve. Listen, it's okay to have moments of uncertainty. We all do. But don't let that uncertainty paralyze you. Don't let those doubts define you. Instead of focusing on what could go wrong, start thinking about what could go right. Think about the opportunities that are waiting for you on the other side of fear. Think about the person you could become if you just pushed past those doubts and stepped into your true power. The truth is, the only way to silence self-doubt is to take action. You have to prove to yourself that you can do it step by step. Every small victory you achieve, every challenge you overcome, will build your confidence and push that self-doubt to the back of your mind. Remember, self-doubt is a choice. You don't have to listen to it. You don't have to let it dictate your future. If you want to be better, if you want to achieve your goals, you need to make the conscious decision to believe in yourself no matter what. When you do that, you'll start to see just how far you can go. Procrastination is the enemy of progress. It's that habit we all know too well, putting things off, delaying action, waiting for the right moment or the perfect conditions. But the truth is, that perfect moment never comes. The time to act is always now. When we procrastinate, we fool ourselves into thinking we have more time. We tell ourselves that we can handle it tomorrow, that we'll be in a better headspace, that things will fall into place eventually. But what we're really doing is allowing opportunities to slip through our fingers. Every time we push something aside for later, we're not just postponing a task, we're also postponing the person we're meant to become. Because the habit of procrastination is not just about delaying work, it's about delaying growth. If you're waiting for motivation to strike, you'll be waiting forever. Motivation is a fleeting feeling, it comes and goes. But discipline, that's something you can count on. And discipline is what gets you through the days when motivation is nowhere to be found. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing what needs to be done, regardless of the circumstances. Every time you choose to procrastinate, you're choosing to stay in the same place. You're choosing comfort over progress. And here's the problem with that: comfort never leads to growth. If you're always in your comfort zone, you're not stretching your limits. You're not pushing your boundaries. You're not learning the lessons that come with taking action. The longer you put something off, the harder it becomes to start. And eventually that task, that goal, becomes a burden, something you dread instead of something you're excited to tackle. We all have dreams, goals, and things we know we need to do. But the only way to turn those dreams into reality is through consistent action. Waiting around for the right moment is a form of self-sabotage. Every delay takes you further away from where you want to be. Every time you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," you're not just postponing the task, you're postponing your success, your growth, your future. You've got to make the decision to stop waiting. You've got to make the decision to take action right now with whatever you have, wherever you are. It doesn't matter if the conditions aren't perfect. It doesn't matter if you don't feel ready. What matters is that you get started. And once you get started, momentum takes over. The key is to begin. You've heard the saying, "Don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today well." Let me put it a different way. Don't put off until tomorrow the person you could be today. Every day you procrastinate, you're choosing to stay stuck in yesterday. But if you start today, right now, you begin to move toward the person you want to become. So stop waiting. Stop making excuses. The time is now. If you want to achieve your goals, if you want to be successful, you have to commit to taking action, even when it's hard, even when you don't feel like it, even when you're not sure how it's all going to turn out. Because the longer you wait, the harder it gets. But if you act now, you're already on your way. Don't let procrastination rob you of your future. Step forward and take that first step today. Negative self-talk is one of the most destructive forces in a person's life, yet it's something we all experience at some point. It's that inner voice that tells you you're not good enough, that you'll never succeed, or that you're destined to fail. It whispers doubts and insecurities into your mind, planting seeds of fear and uncertainty. And if you let that voice dominate your thoughts, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The problem with negative self-talk is that it shapes your perception of who you are. If you tell yourself enough times that you're not capable, not smart enough, or not worthy of success, you begin to believe it. And when you start to believe that about yourself, you stop trying. You stop taking risks. You stop pursuing your dreams. You hold yourself back from reaching your full potential simply because you've convinced yourself that you can't. But here's the truth: what you think about yourself matters more than you realize. Your thoughts are the foundation of your reality. If you constantly feed yourself negativity, your life will mirror that negativity. On the other hand, if you begin to change the way you talk to yourself, if you start speaking life into your own soul, you begin to change the direction of your life. Think about it: when you tell yourself, "I can't do this," you're not giving yourself a chance to try. When you say, "I'm not good enough," you're closing the door to all the possibilities that lie ahead. That voice inside your head, it's not the truth. It's just a story that you've been telling yourself for too long. The way you talk to yourself has the power to either empower you or defeat you. If you find yourself caught in a cycle of negativity, you've got to recognize it and challenge it. When that voice says, "You're not good enough," counter with, "I am capable, I am strong, and I am worthy of success." When it tells you you'll never make it, fight back with, "I have everything I need to succeed, and I will keep pushing until I do." Every time you correct that negative thought, you rewire your brain. You train yourself to think more positively, more productively, and more powerfully. This doesn't mean you'll never have doubts or that negative thoughts will completely disappear. That's unrealistic. But what it does mean is that you'll have the power to recognize those thoughts for what they are: just thoughts. They don't define you. They don't control you. And when you decide not to listen to them, when you choose to reject those lies, you free yourself to become the person you were always meant to be. Avoiding accountability is one of the biggest barriers to personal growth and success. It's easy to point fingers, to blame external circumstances, or to make excuses when things go wrong. But the truth is, avoiding accountability doesn't solve anything. It only holds you back from the progress you could be making. When you refuse to take responsibility for your actions, you're giving away your power. You're saying, "I am not in control of my life," and that's a dangerous mindset to adopt. Here's the reality: everything in your life right now is a direct result of the choices you've made. The relationships, your career, your health, your finances, everything. It doesn't mean you're to blame for everything that's happened to you, but it does mean you are responsible for how you respond. You are responsible for your next move. And once you accept that, you take control of your life. Avoiding accountability often comes from fear: the fear of failure, fear of judgment, or fear of looking weak. It's easy to point the finger at others or to say, "I didn't have the right opportunities," or "things just didn't work out the way I wanted." But if you're constantly shifting the blame, you're preventing yourself from learning the lessons that come from taking full responsibility. Because in every failure, in every setback, there's an opportunity for growth, but only if you face it head on and own your part in it. When you take accountability, you empower yourself. You stop waiting for someone else to fix things for you, and you take the reins of your own life. You understand that you're the one who determines your future. You realize that the only person who can truly change your circumstances is you. Accountability isn't about self-criticism, it's about self-awareness. It's about being honest with yourself about where you are and what you need to do to get where you want to be. Yes, life throws challenges at you, unexpected situations, tough breaks, and obstacles. But how you respond to those challenges defines you. If you constantly blame others or make excuses, you stay stuck in the same place. But if you take accountability, you begin to see obstacles as opportunities for growth. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the creator of your destiny. Taking accountability isn't just about owning your mistakes, it's about owning your successes too. When you accomplish something, take full responsibility for it. Don't downplay your achievements or attribute them to luck. Acknowledge your hard work, your effort, and your persistence. You've earned it. That's how you build confidence and momentum, by taking full responsibility for your progress and your wins. The moment you start holding yourself accountable is the moment you begin to change. You stop waiting for someone else to give you permission to succeed. You stop making excuses and start making moves. The road to success is not always easy, and it's not always clear, but the key is in your hands. Take responsibility for the things you can control and let go of the things you can't. Focus on what you can do today to move forward, and understand that every small step counts. If you want to be the best version of yourself, if you want to create the life you dream of, it starts with accountability. Stop avoiding it. Stop running from the truth. You are responsible for where you are, and you are responsible for where you're going. That power is yours, and with it you can create the future you desire. Fear of failure is one of the most paralyzing emotions we can experience. It's that deep, gut-wrenching feeling that holds us back from taking risks, from stepping into the unknown, from chasing after what we really want. It's the voice in your head that tells you you're not good enough, or this will never work, or what if you fail and everyone sees it, and so we hesitate, we freeze, we don't take action because the thought of failing feels like the end of the world. But here's the thing, failure is not the enemy. It's not something to avoid at all costs. It's actually one of the most valuable teachers you'll ever have. Think about it. Every successful person you admire, every trailblazer, every game changer, they didn't get there by avoiding failure. No, they got there by embracing it. They took risks, they tried, they fell down. And then they got back up over and over again. Failure for them wasn't a sign to quit, it was a sign to keep going, to learn, to adapt, to evolve. The only real failure is not trying at all. If you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to grow. And if you're afraid to grow, you're stuck. What we often forget is that failure doesn't define us. It doesn't determine our worth. It doesn't mean we're not capable or that we're not good enough. It simply means that something didn't work out the way we expected, and that's okay. Failure is feedback. It's a lesson. Every time you fail, you learn something new about yourself, about the process, about what works and what doesn't. You grow stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for the next challenge. Without failure, there's no growth. Without failure, there's no progress. Without failure, there's no success. Fear of failure often stems from perfectionism, from wanting everything to be just right, from thinking that if we're not perfect, we'll be judged or rejected. But the truth is, perfection is a myth. No one is perfect. And those who are willing to fail, who are willing to take risks and make mistakes, are the ones who eventually succeed. The path to greatness is not a straight line. It's filled with setbacks, stumbles, and missteps. But every mistake you make is another step toward mastery. So let me tell you this, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is not the end, it's the beginning. It's the beginning. It's the door that opens to new opportunities, new possibilities, and new ways of thinking. The more you embrace failure, the less power it holds over you. And when you stop fearing failure, you free yourself to take bold, decisive action. You give yourself the freedom to pursue your dreams without the weight of that fear holding you back. Every time you fall, get back up. Every time something doesn't go as planned, find the lesson in it. Every time you think you failed, remember that the most successful people in the world have failed more times than you can count. They failed, and they learned. They failed, and they grew. They failed, and they kept going. It's not about avoiding failure, it's about learning to fail forward. It's about seeing every setback as an opportunity to rise stronger, wiser, and more determined. Fear of failure will always be there lurking in the background, but it doesn't have to control you. You have the power to face it, to move through it, and to keep pushing toward your dreams. The more you embrace failure as a part of the journey, the closer you get to success. Because success isn't the absence of failure, it's the persistence to keep going in spite of it. And that's what makes all the difference. Toxic relationships are like anchors that hold you in place, preventing you from moving forward, from growing, and from reaching your true potential. They drain your energy, feed your insecurities, and make you question your worth. These are the kinds of relationships where, instead of feeling supported and encouraged, you feel small, misunderstood, or even emotionally exhausted. And yet so many of us cling to them, whether out of fear of being alone, a false sense of loyalty, or the hope that things will change. But the truth is, a toxic relationship will never bring out the best in you. It will only keep you stuck in a cycle of negativity and self-doubt. At the core of a toxic relationship is a lack of mutual respect, understanding, and support. Instead of lifting each other up, both people are pulled down by unresolved issues, unhealthy patterns of behavior, and often manipulation. These relationships chip away at your self-esteem, making you feel like you're not good enough, like you don't deserve better, or like you're somehow responsible for the other person's happiness. But that is never the case. You are not responsible for anyone's happiness but your own. And the truth is, if someone truly cares about you, they will encourage your growth, support your dreams, and respect your boundaries. Anything less than that is not love, it's control. Toxic relationships often thrive on emotional manipulation and unhealthy dependence. One person may use guilt, shame, or fear to keep the other person in check, making them feel obligated to stay. even when it's clear that the relationship is doing more harm than good. This kind of manipulation can be subtle, starting with small remarks or behaviors that chip away at your confidence. Over time, these tactics can erode your sense of self-worth and leave you questioning your ability to make decisions or trust your instincts. But here's the thing: you don't owe anyone your time or energy, especially if they're taking more than they give. You don't have to stay in a relationship because it's familiar or because you feel obligated. You don't have to keep sacrificing your peace of mind, your happiness, and your well-being for the sake of someone who doesn't have your best interests at heart. In fact, it's a form of self-care to let go of relationships that no longer serve you, to step away from people who bring more harm than good. It's not easy, and it may be painful, but it's necessary for your growth. A key part of breaking free from toxic relationships is recognizing the patterns. Sometimes it's hard to see when you're in the middle of it, especially if you've been emotionally invested for a long time. But deep down, you know when something's not right. You know when you're being disrespected, manipulated, or mistreated. You feel it in your gut. You feel it in your spirit. That's your intuition trying to protect you. And it's time to listen. When you let go of toxic relationships, you make room for the relationships that truly matter. You make room for people who support you, who encourage you, who challenge you to be better, and to grow into the person you were always meant to be. Healthy relationships are built on respect, trust, and mutual support. They add value to your life. They make you feel seen, heard, and appreciated. And when you have those kinds of relationships, your life becomes richer, more fulfilling, and more joyful. It's not easy to walk away from people you've invested time and energy in, but staying in a toxic relationship will only keep you from stepping into the fullness of your potential. You deserve better than a relationship that drains you. You deserve to be with people who lift you up, who bring out the best in you, and who push you to be your greatest self. Don't let fear, guilt, or doubt keep you in a place where you're not appreciated. Let go of what no longer serves you and make space for the love, respect, and peace that you deserve. It's time to surround yourself with people who recognize your worth. It's time. Complacency is one of the greatest threats to growth and progress, yet it's something many of us fall into without even realizing it. It's that comfortable good enough mindset that convinces you that where you are is just fine and there's no need to push harder, aim higher, or step outside of your comfort zone. It's the quiet voice that says, you've done enough, or this is how things are and they're not so bad. And for a while, that's fine. It's easy to fall into the rhythm of routine, to coast through life without rocking the boat or striving for more. But here's the truth: complacency is the enemy of progress. It's a killer of dreams, a barrier to your full potential. Excuses are the silent killers of progress. They are the reason why dreams remain unfulfilled, goals stay out of reach, and potential goes untapped. Excuses are easy to make. They come naturally when we face challenges, when things don't go as planned, or when we're confronted with discomfort. It's always easier to say, I don't have enough time, or it's not the right moment, or I'm not good enough. These words roll off the tongue effortlessly, and they offer temporary relief from the pressure of action. But in the long run, excuses don't serve us. They hold us back. They trap us in a cycle of inaction and self-doubt. The problem with excuses is that they give us an out. They allow us to avoid the discomfort of pushing through challenges, of stepping outside our comfort zones, and of doing the hard work necessary to achieve our goals. Excuses are the voice that tells you it's okay to stay where you are, that it's okay to settle for mediocrity, that it's okay not to try. They rationalize failure before you even attempt to succeed. And in doing so, they rob you of your future. Every time you make an excuse, you delay the person you're meant to be. But here's the truth: excuses are lies you tell yourself to avoid taking responsibility. They are a form of self-sabotage. The reality is that no one has perfect circumstances. No one has unlimited time. No one has an easy road. Every person who has ever accomplished something meaningful has faced obstacles, setbacks, and challenges. But instead of making excuses, they took action. They pushed through the discomfort. They didn't let the inevitable struggles of life become reasons to quit. They turned those struggles into fuel to keep going. Excuses may seem justified in the moment. They may seem like the easy answer when you're overwhelmed, tired, or discouraged. But deep down, you know they are not the truth. They are the stories you tell yourself to avoid facing the discomfort of growth, the discomfort of change. Every time you make an excuse, you reinforce the belief that you're not capable, that you're not strong enough, or that the world owes you something. But the truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything. The only thing that stands between you and your goals is your willingness to stop making excuses and take action. When you stop making excuses, you take control. You become the one who decides what happens in your life. You stop letting external factors or circumstances dictate your success. You stop waiting for the right time or the perfect conditions. The right time is always now. The perfect conditions are always the ones you create through your choices and actions. When you take full responsibility for your life and stop relying on excuses, you unlock your potential and step into a place of power. It's not about having all the answers or knowing exactly how things will work out. It's about taking one step at a time, even when the path isn't clear. It's about showing up, even when you don't feel like it. It's about doing the work, even when it seems hard. Because every time you push through an excuse, every time you take action despite the fear or doubt, you move closer to the person you want to become. And that is the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The willingness to stop making excuses and start making moves. Excuses will always be there. They will always try to talk you out of your goals. But you have the power to ignore them. You have the power to choose action over inaction. You have the power to create the life you want, regardless of the circumstances. The moment you decide to stop making excuses is the moment you take control of your future. It's the moment you start living a life of purpose, discipline, and success. No more excuses. It's time to step up, take ownership, and do the work. Because your future is waiting. And it's up to you whether or not you answer the call. Ignoring your health is one of the most dangerous habits you can develop. And it's one that's often easy to overlook. We live in a fast-paced world where it's easy to put our physical and mental well-being on the back burner. We prioritize work, deadlines, obligations, and sometimes even the needs of others over our own health. We think that if we just push through, if we just power on, we'll be fine. But neglecting your health is a silent form of self-sabotage. It's a slow, insidious decision that over time leads to burnout, illness, and a life that's less vibrant than it could be. Health is the foundation of everything. Without it, nothing else truly matters. You can have all the wealth, success, and achievements in the world, but if your body and mind aren't in a place to support it, none of it will matter. Your energy, your focus, your strength, your ability to think clearly or perform at your best, these all depend on the choices you make about your health. When you ignore your health, you're essentially putting your life on a weaker foundation. You're risking the very thing that fuels all of your ambitions and dreams. Physical health isn't just about looking good or fitting into a certain size. It's about feeling strong, energized, and capable of taking on whatever challenges come your way. If you're constantly tired, stressed, or dealing with illness, you're not showing up at your best. You're not able to give your best effort to push your limits or to take care of the people and things that matter most. You can't perform at your highest level if your body is worn down or neglected. Ignoring your health today will catch up to you tomorrow. And that's something you can't afford to ignore. But health isn't just about the physical, it's about mental health too. Mental and emotional well-being are just as important as physical strength. If you don't make time for rest, recovery, and stress management, you'll eventually find yourself mentally drained, anxious, or burned out. Mental health problems like stress, anxiety, and depression don't just disappear on their own. They compound over time, and when ignored, they become overwhelming. You may think you're tough, or that you don't need a break, but your mind has limits, just like your body. Taking care of your mental health is just as crucial to your overall well-being as eating right and exercising. Too many people wait until they hit a wall before they realize how much they've neglected their health. They push themselves to the brink of exhaustion only to find that they can't keep going, that their bodies and minds are no longer cooperating. By then, it's often too late to avoid the consequences. You can't take your health for granted and expect to be able to turn things around when the damage has already been done. You have to invest in your health daily, not just when something is wrong. Every day you make choices about what you eat, how much you move, how well you sleep, and how you manage stress. These choices add up. And they either strengthen or weaken your ability to thrive. Taking care of your health isn't about extreme measures or drastic changes, it's about consistency. It's about making small, sustainable habits that promote well-being in the long term. It's about finding a balance between work, rest, exercise, and nutrition that works for you. It's about setting boundaries that protect your mental health and not overcommitting to things that drain you. It's about listening to your body, recognizing when you're tired and giving yourself permission to rest. It's about taking time to nourish your mind, whether that's through meditation, reflection, or simply spending time doing things you love. If you want to be the best version of yourself, you need to treat your health as a priority. You need to give it the attention and care it deserves. Without good health, you can't reach your full potential. You can't build the life you want if you're not physically and mentally strong enough to handle the demands. When you ignore your health, you're not just hurting yourself in the moment, you're setting yourself up for a future where your body and mind will have to pay the path to becoming the best version of yourself starts with taking responsibility for the behaviors that hold you back. Self-doubt, procrastination, negative self-talk, avoiding accountability, fear of failure, toxic relationships, complacency, lack of discipline, excuses, and ignoring your health. They are all barriers to your potential, distractions that keep you from stepping into the greatness you were meant for. But here's the truth: you have the power to change. Every single one of these behaviors can be overcome. And the key to overcoming them lies in the choices you make today. Success, happiness, and fulfillment are not just about talent or luck. They are the result of consistent, intentional action of showing up even when it's hard. It's about embracing discomfort, pushing through fear, and holding yourself accountable to your highest standards. It's about taking responsibility for your life, prioritizing your health, and being disciplined enough to do what needs to be done day in and day out. The world needs you at your best. And that starts with the choices you make. The habits you form today will shape the person you become tomorrow. Don't let fear, complacency, or excuses rob you of your future. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to take action. The perfect moment is now. You are capable of more than you realize, but it requires you to face the uncomfortable truth and take full responsibility for your own growth. It's time to break free from the behaviors that hold you back. It's time to take action, to step into your greatness, and to become the best version of yourself. The world is waiting for you to show up, so go ahead, rise up and start today. Your future self will.